Robinhood might actually be innocent. Rockstar definitely is not. All of that and more on the Tech Summit podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Francisco. And if you're watching on YouTube, then please make sure to take a look at the social media that is going to be in the description. But if you're listening on other platforms, do the exact same thing because it works the same way.
Of course, yes. You mentioned on the social media, yeah.
Patrons.
Patrons.
Yeah.
Well, the social media is going to be in the respective descriptions, whether you are watching.
Yeah. And if you are interested in pledging to the Patreon, because you do, in fact, get entered into monthly giveaways for different pieces of tech, along with Tech Summit merch. Let me actually press this button. Yeah, there we go. I did it right. And speaking of which, the item for this month's giveaway is going to be the Power A, I believe it was, Spectrum controller, which is a wired Nintendo Switch controller and RGB controller. It's a really nice controller. So whoever ends up winning for this month, we are going to be choosing the winner randomly. They're going to get that and any piece of Tech Summit merch that they want sent directly to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so links to the Patreon in the description, of course.
Of course. And
Yeah.
we would like to thank our current patrons.
Yes, for sure. Beginning with the tier 3s. Thank you so much, you guys. That's going to be Forsada, Wazal, Omar, and Joe Moss. I do have the notes over here, by the way. I won't even feign that I just know it all. But then, as for the tier 2s, I mean, we have Armani, Rix Rocks, Maury, C, and I want to say Andrew Gendron. So thank you so much for all of you guys' support, because it really does go a very long way. Now, onto the news.
All right. So we are actually going to, as hinted at, we are going to actually start off with the Sock Scoop. First time in a while.
Yeah,
Is this the first time we're doing a Stock Scoop since we started this current new format?
it has been a while, yeah.
Okay.
It's been a long time.
So the source being cited here is going to be Reuters. So very unbiased news source. Very, very big name in like global news reporting. Just going to throw that out there because some people might, try to argue against it or whatever. But Robinhood and others dismissed of meme stock short squeeze lawsuit. Quoting directly from the article here, a U.S. judge dismissed a lawsuit accusing Robinhood Markets, Inc. and other brokerages of wrongly preventing retail investors from buying fast-rising meme stocks, triggering a sell-off. In a decision on Wednesday, Chief Judge, I'm not going to name them, partly because I feel like I'm going to mess up the pronunciation, but I'm not going to name them just for the safety of things anyway, of the federal court in Miami found...
I think it's more the latter. I mean, the former, but okay.
It's going to be more of the former, probably. I mean... Cecilia Altonica, probably, something like that.
Wow.
Of the federal court in Miami found no proof of an illegal conspiracy to cut off social media-fueled trading of GameStop Corp. and other stocks. Investors in the proposed class action said the brokerages and Citadel Securities LLC colluded to halt a short squeeze that was causing billions of dollars of losses for Citadel and hedge funds that were betting on the falling stock prices. Blah, 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 blah. 51-page decision that the investors fell far short of providing direct evidence of an antitrust conspiracy, despite emails among senior Robinhood and Citadel executives that lent some credence to their claims. Robinhood said in a statement, this further confirms that the conspiracy theory of collusion has no basis in fact. So, according to this, I'm saying according to this, so the court case that was mentioned a while back of Robinhood and other places being sued for possibly halting and conspiring to halt GameStop and AMC stock that time in January has been dismissed, thrown out. It's nothing going to come of it. So, yeah.
Sounds like Robinhood is innocent. At least that's what is being said here.
That is what the courts are currently ruling. There was not enough substantial evidence to prove that there was an actual conspiracy going on. It was a lot of talking and speculating, all of that. And in the end, there is not enough substantial proof to prove that there was actual collusion going on here. Whether there was or not
is yet to be determined, I suppose.
It's completely up in the air, and you could believe whatever you choose to wish. But as far as it stands in a legal context, there was no conspiracy. There was no holding or halting of the short squeeze. The short squeeze did, in fact, happen, and that's just kind of it. Of the short squeeze, when it happened, it was left holding the bag, and I'm going to include the both of us here because that is, in fact, what happened. But
yeah, I shouldn't have bought GameStop stock when I did. That's for sure.
I still apologize.
Fine.
Except I was not a financial advisor. But
I think that's the issue. You didn't actually give that disclaimer, so I completely forgot about it.
I gave this.
No, I know. I'm 100% joking. Don't worry about it. Now, yeah, I would say that around that time, like a lot of things were just like being hyped up to such a degree that that they just started to go up in value.
Basically, like you can. I'm sure Robinhood and Citadel and other places are actually going to argue that there was collusion among the common people to raise the value of these stocks because, they were constantly telling people to buy in. And of course, if you're someone who is invested into something or like they have a product of something and you're trying to convince other people to buy that product or invest in that stock and telling them to tell others to invest in the stock as well, you just made a pyramid scheme right there.
Yeah.
And of course, I know this sounds very rich coming from me because I was very much pro, like, yeah, let's go GameStop. But like, you learn your lesson, and I'm out of the game on that. Like, I already sold my stocks. I'm out fully.
So would you say that you stopped?
Yeah.
Game stopped.
Game stopped.
There you go. Because you said that you were out of the game, so I felt 100% obligated to say that.
Yes.
Yeah.
But sadly, there is quite a few people that are still very much in this whole thing. And that's what I was going to mention. I decided, terrible decision. I decided to, after seeing that report, scour some of those subreddits. Your r/GMEs, your r/super stonks. I wanted to see if they had any takes or thoughts on it, and there was just straight up no mention of the report whatsoever. Nothing.
Nothing at all.
No.
Okay. Well, it feels like so much was happening last year when all of this was really...
It wasn't last year. It was earlier this year.
It feels like last year already.
It's been so long.
Yeah, it has. When was this? In January, February?
Exactly. I was like right at the beginning of the year. So.
Oh, okay. There you go.
And ever since then, we've just been inundated with like crypto and NFT talks instead.
Man, NFTs have been a lot in the talks as of lately, in particular, and people actually seem, from what I have seen at least, people do seem more positive on the whole NFT thing.
I've made my thoughts kind of clear at this point.
Right.
I only found out recently that Neopets try to do NFTs, and it turned out really badly. But
I think that everyone eventually will. It's
just particularly weird that Neopets is doing, because that's directed towards kids. Neopets is targeted towards children.
Right. And actually, now that you mentioned that, I didn't even know that Neopets still existed.
Barely, but
wow.
To my understanding, the people who currently own it, because it's bounced around ownership quite a bit over the last decade or so. But if I recall correctly, I think the current owners haven't even fixed a lot of the site's functionality, because a lot of that stuff was tied to Flash.
No.
Okay, a bulk of Neopets' games were Flash games. So
yeah, we need to move on from that.
I mean, they just straight up don't work. That's it. It's just like chunks of the site apparently just don't work. It's not like they're compromised on it. They just don't work. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, even RuneScape has has like a launcher that you can download to actually play it.
People still play RuneScape.
Yeah. Well, I mean, people would probably still be playing Neopets if it actually was supported.
Maybe.
At least that's what I want to think. Like maybe just like a cult following or something, right? It's like Club Penguin. Like there were people that were keeping Club Penguin alive.
I feel like Club Penguin ended at the right, or officially ended at the right time for people to be nostalgic and miss it and want to support it. Whereas with Neopets, it's been kind of running like a zombie game for the better part of like 7 or 8 years now, and so like most people are just like, it sucks now. It's sucked for years. There's no point.
I see. I mean, I genuinely had no idea about that. I just remember how as a kid I liked the idea of Neopets. They were new pets. So it is sad to see how old they've grown.
Yeah, okay.
I just
But yeah, so even though there's an official report that says straight up there was no conspiracy here, I'm sure a lot of people are still going to say, oh, there was a conspiracy. They're still shorting the squeeze. They're still covering their, excuse me. I'm messing up my jargon here. They have still not covered the shorts. The mother of all short squeezes is still going to happen. The MOAS, whatever, it's impending. As a matter of fact, just yesterday, there was a post on, I believe, GME where someone was saying that it was going to happen today.
Has it happened at all?
I think the stock went up about $8.
So
it's around 228.
It wasn't really a squeeze then, was it?
It's not the mother of all short squeezes. When they talk about the mother of all short squeezes at this point, they're just talking about infinite money, literally. Like they talk about like stock will reach like millions per share. It's like,
yeah, that's highly unlikely for just about anything.
I think a good chunk of them are also now trying to predict the collapse of the economy as a whole, because the idea is that the mother of all short squeezes would also collapse the economy. And apparently most banks and financial institutions, they started off the early morning all down. And so everyone was thinking, this is it. Today's the day.
This is the purge. we can finally start it.
Didn't happen.
Yeah. I mean, hey, like that's it's probably better that it doesn't. In part because I do think it's kind of fun that people keep kind of preaching about this happening one day.
Honestly, I'm watch people get this delusional and stuff like that, but then it's also like really sad because you'll still see posts of being like, I went into my kids' college savings and invested into GME. They will thank me later. And it's just like,
oh gosh,
selling their houses, selling their cars, quitting their jobs, going into their family's savings, their kids' savings, all to invest into this stock. And it's just, that's not okay.
Some people have actually gone as far as putting in their life savings.
It's not okay.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Don't invest more than you're willing to lose.
You're literally throwing away your kid's future for a stock that you think will explode, but basically kind of already has in January.
Right. And no one knows if it is going to explode again.
At this point, I don't think it will.
I don't think it's going to anytime soon.
I think it will trend where it is for now for like maybe a year or so, and then when people realize that the business is just not getting any better, it will just slowly peter out again.
Probably so. But what if it does end up getting better? Like, let's just say that GameStop, for example, ends up getting like just a ton of business. Like everyone's like, whoa, like Best Buy is Best Buy. GameStop is just such a great place to buy games. Like let's say that they added I don't know, like let's just say that they offer you a lot more for your pre-owned games that you want to sell back to GameStop. Like let's say that, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, GameStop is so great.
Well, then the business would probably fail because they're not profiting as much off the used games. Is that
really the only thing that's keeping GameStop afloat?
Huh?
Is that really the only thing that's keeping GameStop afloat, though?
It's a very big thing. They probably do also get a bigger cut out of the merchandise and pop figures than they do out of the new games. So I don't know. I really don't know. They constantly talk about like transitioning to other things like PC building centers or whatever.
Right. I'm sure that not a lot of people also like sign up for their disc replacement services. If your disc gets scratched,
I forgot that
we'll
those
exchange
things
it.
still exist.
Yeah, oh, no, yeah. And they do it for Nintendo's cartridges too.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Um,
at this point it is kind of annoying going into a GameStop and hearing that spiel because I just see no value in that. It's kind of like for me to scratch my disc to the point where it doesn't work.
absolutely, but the employees are being told by corporate to do that. Just pitch all of those things. That's part of the business that they're trying to do, and
Yeah, right. It's not
um,
it's not the employee's fault.
it really isn't. If GameStop were to somehow blow up in like revenue and like all of those things were to work, I imagine GameStop will either A, remain at the stock price that it is and then slowly, gradually go up, because a lot of people will argue that the stock is currently well overvalued, that the stock is not worth $228, which I'm gonna be real with you. I also agree GameStop is not worth $228. But
Wow, it's really been sitting there for a long time. Huh?
it has been relatively steady in that 180 220 range, I believe.
They're doing pretty well then. I gotta
But
say.
either that or like it will sail upwards to maybe like $500, $600. Upper limit 8. And even then, I feel like that's way too generous. It will never reach $1 million per share.
No,
Absolutely not. Tesla.
I don't even think Tesla has, right?
Tesla is considered overvalued right now, and it's currently trending at around 1,200.
Just 1,200.
Yeah, there's no stock that's $1 million. No, there's no stock that's $1 million per share. No,
Yeah, then I think that train of thought has to be abandoned. That
it really
the
is.
stock is going to end up going that high someday.
Which there's a lot of stuff about Elon's antics on Twitter, but that is a whole different can of worms we're not going to go into.
I will say that I do appreciate his antics quite a
We
bit.
are not going to get into that just because like we're running long on the stock scoop as it is. But anyway, yeah, that's going to conclude the stock scoop. So, you've been playing something recently. Your most anticipated game of the year has finally come out.
Yes, it is finally here.
Let's hear about it.
So, first of all, I want to begin by saying that I am a fool because, you know how I had pre-ordered the game already. I pre-ordered a physical copy
Of
Shin Megami Tensei V.
there we go for the audience.
Yeah, there you go. I've been waiting for that game since it was announced, and I did pre-order a physical copy. I was waiting for it. It was supposed to arrive on launch day from Best Buy. Unfortunately, it didn't. I was streaming that night, and I think that one of my viewers had asked me if I've been enjoying the game. Or something cool came out. I forgot entirely, but like the topic came up, and I was like, actually, I was supposed to receive it today, and I haven't yet. And I really want to play it, so I bought it again digitally because I didn't want to wait the extra day. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I'm looking at your face,
Okay.
and that's how dumb I felt immediately after I made that purchase because you don't get any refunds. And that would have been 2 copies of Shin Megami Tensei V that I mean, I don't need 2. I don't even have 2 Switches.
So are you going to go about returning the physical copy?
No,
What?
I actually got a refund for the digital copy.
Okay.
Yeah, so that ended up happening. I called Nintendo and I was like, yeah, this is crashing a lot. And they were like, oh snap. Well, we feel terrible that the software keeps crashing. And I was like, yeah, me too. I'm sorry about that. And they said, this is going to be an exception. We're only going to do this once. And I was like, oh, wow. Thanks a lot.
You better not buy 2 copies again.
Never again, though.
They're not going to bail you out.
Yeah. And I mean, understandably so. Like that customer service representative went out of her way. And I very much appreciate it. So I got Shin Megami Tensei V, and it has been a blast. It has been a lot of fun. It's been a great game. I have actually grown to like the design of the main character.
It's about time.
Yeah, Even though I said that at first, I was more indifferent about it. But I am still very early into the game. I have spent a lot of time on the early game.
Do we have a rough idea as to how long the game is?
I haven't looked it up. I'm trying to stay away from spoilers as much as possible.
I'm gonna look this up.
Okay.
Just an hour length.
I don't know.
Okay. I'll make sure not to say it then.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, I am presuming that it's not actually that long. I have been doing a lot of grinding in the game, but like I really like the way that they've handled the angels and the demons and the you better cut that smug smile off your face, right?
I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it.
But I already have a feeling.
I'm not saying it. Continue.
I will. So, yeah, I mean, like it has been a great game. Now, granted, in portable mode, it doesn't look very good.
How bad is does it run?
I would say that it does run maybe at slightly below 30.
Okay.
And there are times where it does slow down, like when you are close to buildings, and texture pop-ins are definitely an issue with the game. But games that are ported to the Switch, and I guess in this case, even games that are specifically made for the Switch.
I was gonna say this is not a port. This is just a native game.
Mm-hmm. It's an exclusive. It is a Switch exclusive, and even then, we are seeing all of these like weird performance issues and like glitches, like acting really, thankfully, and the cutscenes do look incredible. Those don't have any texture pop-ins since the cutscenes are indeed pre-rendered. That I can recommend to SMT fans so far. Anything of the story. I kind of just know the premise a little bit.
So I'm going to be the one to have to ask the obligatory question that a lot of people have asked surrounding this game. How does it stack up to Persona?
So anyway, we're actually going.
Answer it.
I personally don't think that there is a comparison to be made. Like, just because there are games made by the same company, they share a lot of that DNA. But
one's a spinoff of the other.
Huh?
One's a spinoff of the other.
Right.
As we all know, Shin Megami Tensei is a spinoff of Persona. Come at me.
Mute button. Mute button.
Come at me, guys.
I'm going to have to censor you.
By all means. Everybody knows Persona was the original franchise.
He is being sarcastic, like just in case no one catches on to it. He knows better. I trained him to know better. But, like, I enjoy Persona for one reason. And I enjoy Shin Megami Tensei for another. I really enjoy both a lot. My preference is on Shin Megami Tensei in general. Because SMT just has a lot of philosophical aspects to it that I find to be incredibly intriguing. Persona is very much one note. Like, there's really only one right answer. You will get the bad ending if you honestly want it. Like, they'll tell you if you want the bad ending.
I don't think it's one note. Like, if we're talking about, like, philosophical and deep lore things, then SMT probably blows. I say probably only because I have not actually played an SMT game, but, like, I know it's going to blow Persona out of the water on that front. Of course, Persona's strength is in the character development, and the characters and those social interactions are what carries the entire story,
the plot,
beginning to end.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like Persona and SMT are just, they have a lot of similarities, but they're both too different to me to really warrant a proper comparison of the two.
Hasn't stopped the critics.
Hasn't stopped the critics. No. And I have actually scrolled through so many different reviews, besides the IGN one that I have seen a lot of memes on that are actually pretty good.
Which we discussed on the bonus episode. Was it last week?
Was it the bonus or was it the main episode?
No, it was the bonus.
Okay.
It was the bonus episode.
Probably.
If you guys want to hear that particular discussion when it comes to the IGN review, Patreon.
Yeah. We also post bonus episodes on Patreon every single week, so please make sure to stop by. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So a lot of people do have an issue with the fact that SMT is constantly being compared with Persona 5, and often, like, people just say, it's kind of lacking substance, and I want to say that that's not really true. They're just very different games. It's kind of like if I compare Final Fantasy to Call of Duty. Call of Duty isn't really about the plot.
No, don't. That is too far of a
stretch. You don't like that one, huh?
That is way too much of a stretch, yeah.
I disagree personally.
I think it's too much of a stretch. The better comparison probably would be like Final Fantasy versus Final Fantasy Tactics.
Because they're made by the same company, but I mean,
they are.
Then
you know what? Like it's a spin-off of a main series that is also like fundamentally different in how it plays and how it tells a story or whatever. You know, it's like I feel like that's a much more. You're talking about two completely different genres in comparing Final Fantasy with Call of Duty, and that's just not right because SMT and Persona, they're still JRPGs.
Okay, then let's maybe try something else like
maybe Final Fantasy and like Dragon Quest.
Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest. Sure. Okay, fine. I see your point there.
We're still gonna be like burning the stake for trying here, but
yeah, I get it. I mean, I really love both games for what they are. I enjoy Dragon Quest XI. Haven't played any Dragon Quest game before that. And I've enjoyed almost every Final Fantasy game that I've played, almost, except for 8, because 8 is objectively a bad game until you play it at least, and then you tell me what you think.
I'm excited to play it eventually.
I look forward to it. I mean, I know that a mutual friend of ours really likes 8. So, hey, and you might end up really liking it too.
I don't fully expect to really like. Honestly, I'm expecting to walk out thinking it was okay,
and that it's not as bad as you've heard.
I imagine I'm gonna fall into like directly down the middle between the two camps, and I'm gonna have the most boring opinion of them all. So it's.
I don't know if that's entirely true. I feel like you're going to be swaying more so towards the positive end, just because I'm more on the negative end of it.
I don't want to be that much of a contrarian.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
But so SMT came out. That's sounding pretty good. Critical reviews were overall positive. You know, obviously there's a lot of comparisons to Persona, but I feel like a lot of that is just going to be because the people that are reading or watching them are most familiar with Persona, and they're coming in here with Persona in mind. So it's kind of just like, guess I got to compare the two.
They can if they still choose to. I just wouldn't personally do it. I don't think that it really warrants it. But I understand where the comparisons would come from. I just kind of don't like the, the idea that Shin Megami Tensei just feels like Persona's edgier, less sociable younger brother.
The younger brother comment is definitely a weirder one, and edgier is also kind of iffy, but less sociable is honestly pretty apt just because there are literally no social links.
Yeah, there are. Yeah, true. You saw Friends.
I would still say the best comparison really is just that Persona is very like deep in with like social and character aspects, while SMT concerned itself with more life questioning things.
Yeah, more like what is the right thing for the world kind of deal. And Persona just kind of
a little near-ish. No?
Nier has a lot more depth in that regard, in my opinion.
Really?
I think so.
I thought you were about to say that Nier Really?
No, no.
Because I was gonna be
No. Yeah, no, that's a real class in philosophy. If you play Nier, no, I mean, like, I think that Nier does a very good job in like fooling you into thinking that maybe you're going in the right direction, but you're really going in the wrong direction,
Right.
or not in the direction that you might want to go in. Because I mean, they do have endings A through Z. You know, they have a
that's right.
ton of different endings.
Several bad endings. Yeah.
Yeah, a bunch of the vast majority of them are bad.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of bad endings,
Yeah. Well, this is more of a bad beginning. So,
I could have gone with several other transitions. You know,
yeah. Either way, you're right. you're right regardless. So the GTA trilogy,
definitive edition.
definitive edition. It is includes San Andreas and includes Vice City and what was the other one?
3.
And just 3.
Yeah, just 3, Vice, and San Andreas.
3 was only called 3.
Grand Theft Auto 3, yeah. Vice City and San Andreas were like spin-off titles.
Oh, okay. Like they were.
So like 3 came first, and
Gotcha.
then
Gotcha. Okay. A little bit odd of them that they didn't include 1 and 2, but I
easy.
mean,
That's an easy one because 1 and 2 are like completely different in terms of gameplay. They're like top-down, isometric games for like PS1.
really?
Yeah.
Oh.
GTA 3 was the first one in that specific style.
Yeah, that is not what people, at least I don't think that that's what people know GTA to be.
And that's why they didn't re-release those.
Fair. But this was something that they shouldn't have re-released yet, if they were going to at all, considering the condition in which it came out. So
let's talk about that.
Yeah. They gave us HD textures, they say, but that's not what we see. You will notice that a lot of characters do look very odd, and people are actually talking about performance issues with PlayStation 2 titles. PlayStation 2 titles. Performance issues on the PlayStation 5.
The rain effects looked really bad. I don't know if you saw like a clip of how the rain looks.
I haven't actually.
It's really bad. Like it genuinely can like. It feels like it's an epilepsy warning waiting to happen.
It is it like a lot of lightning.
Not even there's a lot of lightning, although there is lightning. But it's like the rain is like it's like these white little streaks that just cover the entire screen to where you can't see anything that you're doing besides that, unless you're near a body of water like a lake, in which case the rain effect doesn't phase through that texture. So you can have an instance where if you're like the clip that I saw was in San Andreas when you're like biking along the beach. And so, like, the entire beach and all the sand and all that area is just inundated with, like, rain effects. And then you have the ocean right there, which is just completely clean.
Oh, my gosh. That is so bad.
And the thing is, the clip that I saw was at night, too. So, like, obviously it makes everything even worse because, like, that's all you're seeing is the rain effects. And it's just basically like kind of almost like a flashing. It's, like, really, really ugly.
That's honestly terrible.
To my understanding, these games were developed by a mobile game studio, which is part of why they turned out this badly. This was not Rockstar's actual like development studios. This was not like Rockstar North. This was not Rockstar San Diego. It was a mobile game studio which had made a lot of shovelware crap, it seems, in their history. I think they actually also made the original mobile ports for these GTA games, which were themselves kind of mixed bagged. So, you know,
I think I'm familiar with that aspect actually. If I'm not, or maybe I might be thinking about something else, but yeah, the ports are really bad.
Really bad. In the case of PC, they actually crashed several things. I don't know if you heard about that one.
I have, yeah.
Rockstar Game Launcher wasn't able to work whatsoever. So it's like even if you weren't playing the definitive editions, even if you just wanted to play Red Dead 2 or GTA Online or Max Payne 3, you know, the really good one.
Right. Or Just Cause 2, you know, like some
that
people
is
do
not
want
on
to go
Rockstar's
back.
Game Launcher.
Yeah, but some people are just dumb enough to want to go play that again on
On the Steam Deck.
Yeah, in February.
I cannot wait to get a Steam Deck and just start playing Just Cause 2 on the podcast just to spite you.
I guess I deserve that one.
But my favorite thing about all of this is how like they had to pull the game off of Rockstar's game launcher because of a bunch of files that were in there that were not supposed to be there. If you heard about all that.
Yeah, I did. And they did it relatively quickly, actually. Man, like this really was just a show because like there was nobody was happy with us. Nobody was even thankful that this came out at all.
There are a handful of people who had a good time with it because when they were looking at all of those files that were in the game, because they cracked the game immediately, and you have unintentional files. The big thing that they were talking about was music that was no longer licensed, right?
Oh yeah, they did end up going with a different soundtrack, didn't they?
They had to, yeah, because they didn't have the license for things like, say, for example, Michael Jackson songs, but they were still the files were still in the game, so they had to take those down. But the best thing is that those data miners found that the files for Hot Coffee were still there.
Hot coffee?
The Hot Coffee debacle. Unbelievable. Like,
man, they really gave no craps about this.
So lazy that a mission file that was like taken out almost 20 years ago now after it was accidentally left in, and they were just like, yeah, we'll just leave it in, whatever. Nobody notices.
Nobody will notice, but everyone noticed it.
And there it is. Hot coffee's still there. And everyone starts calling for Jack Thompson to come back, but he's disbarred. So,
that is unfortunate.
Oh, he's been disbarred for like a decade now.
That's been unfortunate for a decade. But yeah, I mean, I myself don't really care that much because I've never really been a GTA fan, but I know that the vast majority of gamers are.
The thing is that on top of just being a broken, buggy mess, and like you said, maybe a lot of people are GTA fans, but this is also just like, this is basically what's supposed to hold us over until GTA 6 comes out.
That's not going to happen.
And it's like, you give us this.
Yeah.
If it came out perfectly well, then there was a good chance that it could just be like, it's not GTA 6, but it's nice to revisit these classics. I have never played them myself either. But,
You're right.
It's just... No.
And this is especially bad, like, considering that GTA 6 is probably not going to come out anytime soon.
Several years away.
Yeah.
A game leak, a rumor/leak is that the game's in development hell. Because if you remember a few years back, the lead guy, like the lead writer for all of the GTA games since the inception, basically had left Rockstar. And so it's possible that the game's been in development hell and kind of a tailspin since then. GTA was always good at doing like satirical things and, being on the pulse of like society satire and all that stuff, which is really difficult to do when A, your lead writer leaves, and B, the last, we're going to say half decade, and I'll leave it at that,
Yeah. There has been a lot more going on besides game development issues.
It's kind of similar to how, I'm trying to remember who it was. There was a comedy, I don't think it was South Park. I think it was something else where they were just like, we're not going to do anything about what's going on because it's so ridiculous that there's like satire is redundant. And so it's just kind of like, I imagine like GTA would probably also run into the same problem, I feel.
Most likely. This, for sure, is not going to hold anyone over until GTA.
No, it's honestly really bad.
Yeah.
Should they just pull it entirely and offer refunds?
Yes, I think so.
Because like the games are apparently, because Rockstar did put it back up on PC after they got the files out, but
And that's the only reason why they took it out, huh?
It basically just sounds like they only took it down just to like get the music files out.
Oh gosh. I mean, they could have. It would have been nice if they had fixed it. Like taken a few more months to patch those textures up.
It is really not looking all that great for GTA 6. But like,
if the PlayStation 2 version looks better than the latest and greatest remaster versions of these games, then that is a shame. And performs better, I should say. At least it's more consistent, And I'm sure that people can just mod the older games to hell already and get a lot more out of them.
Well, I mean, they delisted them.
Completely.
Yeah, the old versions, they were delisted specifically to make space for the definitive versions. It's like, we're going to delist these so you can buy the definitive. Kind of like with Final Fantasy with the Pixel remasters, how they delisted the mobile ports. Except the problem is that with Final Fantasy, the Pixel remasters are universally regarded as way better than the mobile ports.
I haven't even touched those yet, actually.
Here.
I really should.
I think 5's has come out now, or is close to coming out. I don't think they've come out with 6 yet.
Okay, interesting. I will definitely be waiting on 6's before playing that one. I already played 5, so it's like, it's like whatever. But anyway, when it comes to GTA,
yeah, I'm concerned just because it's like, okay, so Red Dead 2 came out well.
Mm-hmm.
Critical acclaim, Game of the Year awards out the wazoo, things like that. It could very well end up being the last really good game from Rockstar, just because it's like, it just feels like Rockstar's getting increasingly cynical with how they deal with their IPs, or specifically GTA. GTA Online sort of took over priorities. They didn't do any more single player content like they did in past game cycles. The lead writer is gone. It's just also they cannot do crunch on their employees anymore, or at least they shouldn't be able to, because obviously they did that for Red Dead 2. Presumably they did that for GTA 5 as well. And now, like, because they came under fire for that stuff, they're probably not going to be able to do that for 6. And so they're probably just going to be like, well, we're just going to cheap out on it rather than just give it extra time or whatever. That's a whole thing. Oh, my goodness.
What's up? What's wrong?
So we were talking about what we should talk about in the episode before we started recording, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we did not once consider to talk about the Blizzard stuff again. And the things that have come out this week.
Yeah, that
about Mr.
Fire
Bobby Kotick.
Yeah.
Kotick.
Kotick.
There's other words I can use, but I'm going to get censored on those. But resign. Please, I'm looking directly at, I hate you. I have hated you for many, many years, even before this. I absolutely loathe you now. Resign.
I was thinking of making like a small nod to that whole Activision situation at the moment, like at the very end, and kind of just like make it a cliffhanger thing, like just to kind of put you on edge.
we can absolutely talk about it more next week, because there's definitely going to be more coming out, because as we're recording, I think they're still doing that walkout, all the employees. Which, by the way...
there's a lot that still has to go down, so yeah.
Yeah. Which, by the way, I want to say I told you also, because like everyone was focused on the Blizzard stuff and being like, oh, it's Blizzard that's a problem. Nope. Because this past week, one of the reports about harassment and stuff like that towards an employee was coming from Sledgehammer Games, which just released Call of Duty Vanguard. So,
I heard Vanguard was not very good.
I don't think anybody cares about Call of Duty Vanguard.
They're very focused on what's going on with the company, or
not even that. It's just like the game came out, and yeah, there's a lot of like the trouble of that. But then also people are just kind of like, who cares? People who are into military shooters are paying attention to Battlefield, which has been having its own problems in its first week of release, and people who care about shooters in general are paying attention to Halo Infinite, whose multiplayer basically released. They're calling it a beta, but it's basically released.
Okay.
So
yeah, I know that a lot of people are very much excited about Halo.
Oh, I've been playing it the last couple of days. It's genuinely great. I really enjoy it. I was never a huge Halo fan. I only ever really played and owned Reach, but like Infinite's multiplayer is a lot of fun. People are complaining about the progression and how it's like really slow and grindy, and so it's encouraging microtransactions, but at the same time, it's also like
It is a multiplayer game.
it's a free-to-play multiplayer game.
It's free to play. Yeah.
But 343 has also already responded, and they're already making adjustments. So
Okay. Yeah. Hey. I mean, there you go. Though I do know that that's the thing that people mostly have to be looking forward to is the single player campaign.
Care quite a bit about Halo's campaigns, but I still feel like the multiplayer is usually the more popular thing. I don't think that many people are going to be paying $60 just to play the campaign. I feel like most people who play the campaign are going to be playing it through Game Pass just because it's cheaper that way.
Hey, I mean, yeah.
The multiplayer is free to play, so like once you play the campaign for like 10, 12 hours or whatever, you don't. That's it.
Like if you want to own, like if kind of guy,
Yeah.
you know, then maybe you might want to do that into shooting games. But
That's perfectly fair. Yeah.
besides Doom,
Yeah,
Doom is the exception.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just if I don't have the soundboard near me, so I don't want to curse, but like.
No worries. Activision thing is
Screw Activision Blizzard. There we go. We're gonna be a little PG. Screw Activision Blizzard.
Yeah.
By far. Oh, minor stock scoop, I guess. Their stock has been taking a nosedive in the last couple of days since the chaotic stuff came out. Good. That concludes the stock scoop again. And
Alrighty.
I think that should also conclude the episode.
Indeed. Yeah, so very weird to have to end it on such a somber note. However, yeah, I mean, like, good things have been happening, but also a lot of bad as of late. And tech news have actually been a little bit slow, so we decided to kind of go with game news today.
I would say this is kind of the most, like, this is usually like the big period for game releases, you know. We didn't even cover Pokemon's release and some of the things about that.
I forgot about that. I think it came out yesterday, right?
Something like that, but like, we didn't even cover that.
Okay, I guess I have to buy it. I forgot about it. How could I possibly forget about the Diamond and Pearl remakes? I was actually excited for those.
I've lost some excitement. But
That's
in any
fair.
case, what is still exciting is the social media that we will have in the respective descriptions wherever you are watching or listening to this.
Honestly, it really depends on just how excited you are about social media in general. I don't have a TikTok.
Yeah. But the Patreon and all that stuff.
Yeah, Patreon. Do not say Patreon. Never say Patreon ever again.
Patron.
Yeah, I do it. So thanks to all of you for pledging, of course. And if you would like to become a patron yourself, then please make sure to pledge. I mean, it's going to be down below. But this has been Francisco.
And Chris.
And until next time, enjoy.
Good night. Travel well.